All right, well, I'm gonna start off by saying that it is super awkward for me to record myself, but I feel like if I verbalize it, it will be a little bit easier to understand for people who are kind of new to what I have going on, essentially. So, the best way I can describe it would be like this. When I was little, I was blessed with the gift to be able to see more than the average human. I have multiple memories of seeing different things, skeletons walking down the street that were dressed as mariachis at my parents' first house, different creatures that I've seen when I was a child. And over time, I would try to explain these things to my parents and to my brothers. And all everybody would basically say to me is that, you're a kid and your imagination is getting the best of you. So for a long time, I pushed what I was seeing away. I pushed it away, and I grew up in a really religious family, so we were Christian growing up. So what I was essentially seeing was not of what they follow. So I pushed it away for a really long time, and I was the one who would go to church every Sunday with my grandma all the way up through high school, and with my little cousin Emily. She would come majority of the time too. But I would be there, not my brothers, not my mother, not my father, but me and my grandma. And I'd be there in the church and just absorbing and listening and, retaining information that I thought was interesting from that level. And I was around this time, I'm between the ages of 13 to 18, right? I'm still having spiritual experiences all throughout my childhood, all throughout my young teenage years up until 18, around this time. Still going to church, still following the Christian religion, thinking that there's heaven or hell, or that somebody's always watching me or somebody else is always judging me. And it caused a lot of stress, and it felt like it made me want to be a sneaky person because I felt like I always had somebody constantly watching me. Not only was I going through a lot with my parents and the trauma that I went through as a child, dealing with a lot of the things that I had to go through, but also the additional trauma of not being heard as a child, of when I was experiencing these different, whether you want to call them ghosts, spirits, entities. I was experiencing these things, and nobody would believe me, or nobody cared enough to question what I was seeing. So, so then I believe I had Mateo at 20 years old. And at this time, I'm still a Christian, okay? I'm 20 years old. I had my first kid. I'm still a Christian. I turned 21. I got married. Mateo was like 3 months old at our wedding. And then after that, I would say when Mateo was probably 6 to 9 months old, I had my first true outer body experience, where I had put my body to sleep, but my mind was still awake and aware of what was going on and what was happening around me, to the point where I was able to relax myself all the way and slip out. And when I slipped out of my body, I was able to look down from above and see myself in a resting state of, basically, I looked so happy and just like asleep, you know what I mean? Just laying there, and I had a smile on my face. And I remember looking at myself. I looked at my hand. I looked at myself laying down, and then I looked at my hands, and I could see a hand, but I could also see through the hand. And then from there, I was sitting on my balcony outside. From there, I turned and I looked out towards the horizon, and it was nighttime at this time. So technically the sky should have been dark, right? What I was seeing was as if the sky was a beautiful purpley pink color, and there was tons of little sparkling glimmers all over it, and I could feel it wanting me to go there and explore. But this was the first time I had ever experienced anything like this, and it was so much for me and such a new phenomenon that I was shook. I was shook, and it was so much that I instantly I was brought back to my body. And after that experience, I was like, whoa, what is this? It made me question everything that I had ever went along with my whole entire life, because this felt more natural and real than anything else I've ever experienced with religion. I remember going to church and seeing, it always made me super uncomfortable when I seen it, and I always really, I don't know, when it would be this time of the service, I always kind of like, you know, because it's kind of like weird to me. It was really weird. But at the end of the service, and we didn't go to like a smaller church. We went to like not like a mega church, but like it was pretty large. But so at the end of the service, the pastor would call up to in the crowd and be like, okay, is there anybody who needs us to pray for them, or does anybody need whatever? So people would go up there and like, you know, stand in a line, and basically like the pastor would come, would put his hand on their forehead, right? The third eye. So they're putting their hand on the third eye and basically drawing down a power that had the ability to overpower these people's bodies, and it was knocking people out, and like people were like falling out on the ground. And I've talked to like multiple people who go to churches even out here in Oklahoma, and they also have said like, yeah, this is like a thing that like people call it like getting slayed in the spirit. I'm gonna have to pause this real quick because Mimi is creeping on me right here. Okay, so essentially these people were getting what was called slayed in the spirit, or slain by the spirit. It's just weird to me to see something that doesn't have a physical form be able to come over somebody else, and not in a way that it was energizing them or pouring into them or giving energy. It was stealing their energy to the point where people were falling out, passing out, there was like the ushers had to stand behind just pay attention. If you see this in your church, just pay attention. But like the ushers were having to stand behind these people, because when this spirit would jump on them, that's what it is. When the spirit that the pastor is summoning jumps on the person, and they're not aware of what's going on, it's easy for that spirit to overpower them and then just zap their energy just like that. And then that's when you see people like passing out and falling on the floor, or just, you know, acting really weird, not like themselves, especially in those moments. So, you know, I'm seeing that growing up, and I'm like, what the hell is that? But I mean, you know, it's just one of those things that you just kind of have like in the back of your mind. And I have this in the back of my mind while I have all these other experiences that are keep trying to resurface, you know. And like I've had experiences of seeing things when I was little when I was seeing these things, like either the age of my daughter or the age of my son, like between the ages of like 3 to 7 years old, I was seeing these things. And I like, you know, like my parents they wouldn't even entertain the idea of what I was seeing. I don't know, because they didn't care, or if they were scared, or because of what religion we were raised in, that they just pushed it away. Anyway, so I have my son. I have that outer body experience, right? And that really pushes me to question everything that I know, because it felt in that moment of being outside my body and experiencing, looking at my physical body, feeling my own energy, in a sense, not being trapped in a physical vessel, and then realizing that I had the ability, if I wanted to like travel somewhere else. Like that was the most like natural thing to me. It felt very natural. It felt very peaceful. I was not scared at all. I was very energized, and I was very happy. And when it came back to my body, it was only, this whole thing only happened between maybe 5 to 10 seconds of being able to be out, because it's my very first time, right? When I came back to my body, I was so happy. I was almost in tears, because I could not believe that was there. Like it was there, and it was waiting for me. So even after that experience, I didn't have enough knowledge of what that was to just leave Christianity and leave the religion, right? So I continued to be a Christian for a little bit longer. I got pregnant again, had my daughter. I'm like trying to do the math. I'm like 22 or 23 at this time, right? So I have my daughter. We move. I get called to move from the city to out into Tenino, Washington, which is a little bit more like in the country and secluded. We got a really nice house in a lake community, and I absolutely loved it out there. And everything seemed great, right? Everything seemed great. But I was also on the back end going through a lot of trauma with my family. My direct line, my mother, my father, my brothers. There was just a lot of stuff going on to the point where I felt very disconnected from them. So I was to the point where I was very disconnected from my bloodline. And, this is the direct lineage of the people that I'm coming from, my mom, my dad. I couldn't understand the reasoning of the situations that were present and the way that they were dealing with things. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't relate to it. It was really hard for me to it was just hard for me to relate. Like the things that to me were like a no-brainer, to them it was just like the concept, the idea was something that they couldn't even grasp, right? So I'm not going to go into the family trauma that I was going through. Some people know, some people don't. It doesn't matter because I'm here, right? But it was a really, really low point in my life. And a lot of the family trauma that I was dealing with from my family was bleeding into my family that I was creating with Mellow, right? So in that moment, I believe it was either 2002 or maybe 2003. I think it was 2002. Anyway, I was to a point in myself where I felt very lost. I felt lost from my family. I felt lost from the family I was creating. I felt disconnected from religion because I knew in my heart that was not the truth for me anymore. What other people were following and what was guiding other people was not original to me and was not something of a primordial essence to me. It was something that was made for other people, that's fine. So I was to a point where I was really lost, and I just was not in a good place, and I can admit that, because without the lows, there is no highs. So I was in a really, really low point in my life where I should be, the happiest. I should be happy that I had two beautiful children that were very young. I had multiple houses. I had everything, nice cars. I drove a Mercedes. I had everything. But inside of me, I felt so lost, and I couldn't figure out who I was, essentially. I could not figure out who I was. I kept getting brought back to that experience that I had of being outer body at my first house, and something told me to just continue to pursue it. So what I did instinctively was I started to listen to music that my mother would listen to when she was pregnant with me. And my mother was a huge Luther Vandross fan. If you know me, you know I love Luther Vandross. And I would listen to this music that my mom would play in the car on the ride to my grandma's house every morning, right? We would be listening to Luther or some smooth jazz. But anyways, I'm in my car, I'm outside, I'm looking at the stars, and I'm listening to Luther, right? I have my sunroof open. My heart is just open because it's broken, right? My heart is open, and I'm essentially asking God, because like I said, at this point in it, I'm still religious, right? I'm still following I don't know, I guess what I thought in that time what a Christian should be, and just in one night, my life changed forever, and it will never be the same, and I'm glad. So on this night, right, I'm outside, I'm sitting I had a Toyota Highlander as well, so I'm sitting in my Toyota Highlander, I have the sunroof open, I'm sitting in my nice driveway, I got the sunroof open, I have Luther playing real quietly, right, and I'm just there, I literally just had both of my hands just resting on my heart, and I'm looking up at the stars, and there's one star that just keeps catching my attention, so I'm looking around, but it gets drawn back to this one star. And so I'm looking at the star, right, and I'm listening to the music, and my heart is open, because I'm asking God, what am I, who am I, and if this is what I come from, and this is if this is the essence of what I am in a human form, like, how could this be? Because it didn't feel right to me in my heart. So I started to I was getting drawn to look at this one star. And so I'm just like, literally just like staring at this one star, like laying back. My chair's all the way back, and I have my hands on my heart, just resting, and I'm just looking at the stars. I'm fucking sad, whatever. Next thing you know, you guys, on everything I love, I swear this on myself, this star comes lower and lower and lower to the point where it looks like it's about, I mean, like maybe like 100 feet up above my house. Okay, 100 feet. It came all the way down to 100 feet, maybe even lower. It was close. And it was glowing like super bright, like a super light pale blue. And it was just beautiful. Like it was like almost like a whitish blue. It was beautiful. And it came down lower and lower. And I'm like staring at it like, is this fucking real? Like, is this happening? And like, I can literally just like I could not look away at this point. And what happened is like the star, it came closer and closer. And then it started like moving almost in like a figure 8 pattern, right? And then, like I said, I swear this on everything, on myself. I swear this on myself, okay? As I'm staring, 111, as I'm staring at this star, Luther Vandross, the voice of Luther Vandross on the radio, starts singing to me, "What is your name?" Like repeatedly. Like it's supposed to be like some song that's like, you know, a song like I'm listening to. But somehow, literally through the music, I can hear somebody singing to me as I'm staring at the star. What is your name? What is your name? What is your name? I tell this star the name of my spirit, Hypnotic Escape. Not Nicole Santorno or Sandoval. That's a human, right? I tell them the name of my spirit instinctively. This is like instinctively. This is not like I'm sitting here thinking about it. This is instinctively. As it's asking me, it came out. And in that moment, like my life changed forever. I made a connection with the star to the point where I would come outside almost every single night to literally, and I learned that like I was channeling the star. And so basically over the span of like the next 6 months, I spend channeling the star, and like I'm learning where the essence of my consciousness came from, how I got here, and where essentially I need to be next, which was Oklahoma. And it was just such a crazy experience, you know. I mean, there was other experiences in the meantime between when I moved from Washington to Oklahoma. There was a time where after I like started channeling and like learning about the power that I possess within myself, I had a friend, she booked an Airbnb for us right out there in Washington. And we ended up, it was just crazy how it happened. Anyways, we ended up in this magical room of, I don't even want to divulge too much because it's a dangerous rabbit hole if you go down. Anyways, there's a woman, I'll just say it like this, there's a woman that is worshipped as God in like multiple countries, that she's got multiple these churches, and basically they call them the Church of Enlightenment, right? And essentially we ended up in this Airbnb. It was supposed to be like a nice little cabin, like overlooking a creek, and it was beautiful, don't get me wrong. But my friend was coming from out of town because she wanted obviously we wanted to spend some time together, and she was also spiritually tapped in, so she wanted to, spend some time and see if I can read her energy, go through my notes, just, shoot the breeze basically on spirituality. So we get into this house. It's very spiritual in there. There's pyramids, there's stuff for fairies. If you know my connection with the fairies, then there's stuff of like different spirits. There's all types of stuff in there, and I'm looking around like, yeah, like this is a magical room. Like I can tell I have a magical room, so I can tell like when I'm in something. Anyway, so long story short, we end up in this I'm just gonna call her an entity. We end up in this entity's basically like home playing field, right? And so what this entity, what their mythology that they follow is, they channel the fucking loser that tried to take out Atlantis, right? That's basically what it is. And so at the moment when me and my friend are like in this moment, you know, and we're actually watching a video where it's talking about Atlantis, instantly I sit up and I'm like, we can't watch this shit no more. And it was just so weird. Actually, before that, now that I think about it, so like we are sitting there on this couch, right? She's sitting, okay, so like if the couch is like, you know, she's sitting like right here and I'm like laying down right here with my feet up on the armrest, you know, and I'm just like sitting there, and I have my same thing, I have my hands on my heart, and I'm just listening to this Brother Rich. He was talking about Atlantis, and he was talking about it with Aquarius Maximus, who is a fucking agent. Anyways, but they were basically in that moment they were channeling information about Atlantis. And I could, as I'm laying there with my hands on my chest, I can feel Antea behind me getting tired, like falling asleep, which I mean, like, is not like out of the crazy, because like she just came on a fucking plane and obviously traveling, she's tired. But I could also feel myself getting very, very drowsy, which is not normal for me because I'm like a night owl, right? So like I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, not the first time this has happened to me, by the way, I can feel everything. It's basically, it'd be like out of the corner, like if you're looking all the way around right here, not directly what I'm looking at, but like the surrounding peripheral, it looked like darkness, right? And it looked like the darkness was like slowly creeping in, right? Slowly creeping in, until it blocked your whole vision, and then you're just like asleep. So I instantly, my spirit goes on defense, because like I know this shit is not normal. So I shoot myself out of my fucking body. And when I shoot myself out of my body, I get faced with this fucking bitch, right? And so this bitch, what she tries to do is she tries to make the Terracotta Warrior Army. And so we are in this like, literally like the astral realm. If you know what the astral realm is, great. If you don't, just take the time to do some research of what it is. So we are in the astral realm. I am in my light body. She is in whatever you want to call that. It's not of light, I can tell you that much. First thing, I was ready to come after her, right? The first thing that she did was make like 1,000 warriors of terracotta right in front of me, between me and her. Instinctively, you guys, instinctively, I literally just channeled all my energy straight into myself and made like a fucking compact ball of light, so fucking bright and vibrating so hard that I literally just blasted her fucking warriors right away, right? And so then she's like standing by herself. I shoot myself over to her and I grab her by the throat. And when I grab her by the throat, her face changes from like what it looks like as a person to like this fucking crazy looking like serpent thing. And so like I grabbed her by the fucking throat, and like this weird beast thing is like with darkness is coming out, like her fucking eyes and her tongue. It was just crazy. The things that were like coming out of her face, it was crazy, right? And so I fucking instinctively, I make a sword of light instantly, and just shove it straight through her freaking her brains, basically. Shoved it straight through her fucking brain and her third eye, and it was so much light, you guys, that her eyes literally like they were just like, they was glue with fucking light, this freaking same color light as the star, right? And like it was coming out of her mouth, and it was so much that like I had overpowered her in that fucking moment, to the point where she couldn't keep me trapped there anymore like she was trying to do. And so I instantly shot back to my body. I sat up right away, and I looked at my friend like, bro, we can't watch this anymore. Like, we gotta go. And so my friend is like, okay, yeah, let's get up out of here. Like, it, like, you know, it's like a weird vibe. I had to play this fucking frequency to keep like her spirit off of us while like I gathered all my notes in like my notebooks and like all my shit. Like I had hella, you know, all my spiritual shit there with me. And I had to gather everything. I fucking played the fucking noise. Like, I played this frequency for clearing out lower energy. And I mean, shit, we got our shit and we went to my fucking house, you know. And I let her sleep in my fucking magic room. And hopefully it was a good night's sleep for you. I don't know. I mean, you know, it was a fucking crazy ass experience. But just after that, it just made me realize, like, I truly hold all the power in the world for myself. And for the people that I love and for the people that I need to protect. And that I'm here to show other people, like, look, there's more than just one way that other people have been shown. Like, this is not new age 2025 stuff. This is stuff that's channeled anciently. The same stuff that the ancient Egyptians were doing, the same stuff that the Aztecs and the Mayas were doing before the reptilians came as opposed as false gods. So this is not new information. These are not new techniques. These are not nothing new. This is stuff that's ancient memory, ancient primordial energy. So after learning that I have this power within me to defend myself, protect the people that I love, and to essentially stop the corruption of darkness, I left religion all the way, and I just continued to pursue what felt right to me in my heart. I don't care if it doesn't make sense to other people. A lot of other people are led by their ego, and it's easy for them to try to deny something that they could never see within themselves. And that's fine. That's fine. Because that will never be me. I know who I am. I know the power that I possess. I know what I can do for other people. And I'm not here to serve other people. I'm here to serve myself. And I'm here to serve my children, because my children and I made a contract before we even came into this lifetime as you know, Nicole and Mateo and Amora, because this is our last lifetime here. We're trying to get the fuck up out of here. I mean, you can see that the world is getting weird, right? With the Neuralink and them like cloning people and trying to trap your consciousness. It's just very weird. And, you know, a lot of people are going to get caught up in it, and that's fine, because it just has to be the way it is. It's been like that, and, you know, other lifetimes and other centuries and other empires. It's like that. It's always like that. You're going to have people that think that you're fucking crazy, and then you have people in the back of your mind that are in their back of their mind like, shit, she might be onto something. All I'm saying is this: question everything. Think back to the experiences you had as a child. When your kids are coming up to you telling you that they fucking see shit, don't turn them away. Do not turn them away. Lean into that, because they might be there to protect you. You never know. You never know. I know the power that I possess is only magnified in my kids. And the more that they are becoming aware of what they are, not on a human level, but on a more spiritual level, I can see them just flourishing. And they're not confused by things that other humans are so caught up in. Even from a young age, they just, to me, it's just amazing how they understand. And I truly feel like it's because I've never discouraged them to, use their, to not use their, I guess, I never push them not to use their imagination. I always encourage them to use your imagination. What are you seeing? What are you feeling? What are, because we are very sensitive creatures. A lot of people feel like we are limited to smell, sight, taste, hearing, and touch. We have so many more senses than that. So many more centers of energy in our body that could be channeled if they are awakened and come online. And it just literally happens through awareness. Okay, I'm about done, but just question everything. Don't go along with an idea just because it's presented by somebody else. Study. Research on your own. That's how you become the most dangerous person in the room, is by sitting there and researching. Independent research. I cannot stress the importance of independent research. I have stuff on, like, literally, astral dynamics. I mean, The wheels of life. These are energy centers in your body. Stars and constellations. I have so many books on different things. The artwork that I put up, you know, for my children, this stuff is to spark ancient memory within them that they will be able to pull back into the times that, you know, where it's important now, here and now. Here and now.